I have said things like, you're more than just a mother, you're more than just a wife, and don't lose yourself as you become a mother and a wife. And this man's thread post hits. David Ruffin, No Temptations on Threads. I was sent this post, and this is it. He says, I watched my aunt slowly disappear in her marriage to my uncle. Not all at once, just little by little. She was sharp, funny, full of fire, but over time that fire got quieter. Not because he was overtly cruel. It wasn't that simple. It was subtler. He never had to say don't out loud. His disapproval lived in tone, in silence, in the way he looked at her when she spoke too freely or laughed too loud. Eventually, she adjusted, stopped doing the things she loved, softened her voice, stepped out of rooms she once lit up. And from the outside, it looked like compromise. But what she was really doing was disappearing by degrees. Watching her taught me that erosion isn't always violent. Sometimes it's polite. Sometimes it's patient. Sometimes it wears a wedding ring, because that's how it works. Not all at once, but in pieces. You trade in parts of yourself thinking it's just for now, thinking it's just the cost of keeping the peace. And then one day you wake up fluent in silence, comfortable in the background. You've learned how to not be too much, and you've forgotten how to be whole. That part right there. And then one day you wake up fluid in silence, comfortable in the background. You've learned how to not be too much and forgotten how to be whole. That right there is a whole bar. That is the lesson right there. When you become too enmeshed, sometimes you simply disappear. You get eaten up whole. And that's one of the things that I have been asking women, telling women, don't lose yourself completely, because when the children go off to school, if your husband leaves and the relationship dissolves, you are left picking up the pieces of your life, not knowing if you like spaghetti sauce, not knowing if you like Prego or Ragu, like a recent Reddit that we did, where a woman is faced with trying to figure out the things that she likes because everything that she had done up until that point had been tailored to him. This definitely got the ladies talking underneath this post. I am Rhonda says, and this is a major reason why I happily divorced my ex-husband. He was attracted to all the things other people were and then tried his hardest to break me down in very subtle ways, but he was the good guy. Mom Duke says, yes, they slowly chip away at everything that makes you you, all because of their own insecurities, lack of better decision making, misuse of funds, envy, and even jealousy of their own spouse. The ex broke me down so bad, I felt so empty and hollow. One day I looked out at two small children and said to myself, what am I teaching them? What kind of example am I setting for them? I woke up out of that fog, got it together, and moved on. And that's the thing. It's like, this is the reason why I say stop giving everything away. Stop letting your friendships go. Stop letting your hobbies go. Because like she said, they slowly chip away at everything that makes you you. Still be you. Everything has to have some kind of balance. Obviously, in the early stage of having babies, there's no balance. Amber Waves of Gray says, this was my life that you described. I'm still trying to find my personality again. I feel so blank. Melly Melly May says, women have been conditioned to cater to the male ego. It will take years and years of unconditioning. This is one of the main reasons women want to be single these days. And I talk about this all the time. And I talk about certain things over and over and over because of how we were socialized. We have been socialized and programmed since we were children. It's going to take a lot to deprogram all of that and then reprogram new ways of being. So folks are going to have to be okay with seeing and hearing many of these lessons and seeing examples of it in your face over and over, because it's going to take a long time to deprogram some of this stuff. MX Shan says, I made a promise to myself when I got married that I would never shut the F up because I had been told by 5 different women how they used to be talkative but realized it just wasn't worth it. Nobody wanted to hear what they had to say. They weren't badly treated, but the vibe their husbands gave was one of just, ugh, just stop. So they did. She continues with, my favorite poem is about this, and it's about a woman who becomes quiet in her waiting, and in the end, silence becomes more beautiful than the thing she was waiting on. It absolutely doesn't translate, but basically, just even 100 years ago, it was a thing that you got married and went silent. And went quiet because what he has to say is more important, and you need to listen to your kids, and in the end, you stop talking. It's crazy that you have to do all of this pomp and circumstance to be seen. You put on your makeup, you put on your pretty bold dresses to be seen, and then you get into a relationship and then you disappear. That literally makes no sense. You could be loud and fun and dance and all of this, and then all of a sudden you're supposed to disappear. You're supposed to disappear just to be the servant of the household, to cook and clean and be the nanny bang maid, and that's it. And you just lose yourself. And I want us to not lose ourselves. We are whole humans before we get married and have children. I want us to continue to be whole humans even after. Demi J. Blush says, and that's why, ladies and gentlemen, I will never get married again or cohabitate with a man. I don't even date anymore. Men just take from you until you're a shell of who you used to be. And in return, you receive emotional abuse, eggplant, and bubble gum. Jody has a word. Jody says, I used to say to young women, if you keep biting your tongue to keep the peace, eventually you won't be able to talk at all because you've bitten your tongue off. Stop going silent. Stop going silent. Design Bird says, a lot of women are taught to look out for the obvious signs of maltreatment or abuse, but never the subtle signs, the silent disapprovals, the quiet insistence on how she needs to adjust to suit his idea, all paraded as compromise. This is why I become wary of married women with platforms that constantly preach compromise instead of teaching younger women how to identify people who disrupt their peace. I'm thankful for you and your family that your aunt is no longer in that situation. And the aunt is no longer in that situation. I saw because he said that the uncle died. So I don't know how long she had to simply disappear and how you find yourself again after years and years of just being quiet. Ooh, Law JKJ says it's painful how often women trade pieces of themselves for peace in a relationship, not because they're weak, but because they hope love will be enough. Real love doesn't ask you to disappear. It invites all of you to stay. Man, that was it. Abigail says, this was my first marriage. I sometimes feel like maybe he wasn't as bad as I thought. Then I remember how annoyed he was when I would happily sing while cooking in the kitchen or comment, wow, in a dry and annoyed voice when I would dance and twerk to be silly at home. The sighs I would hear every time I wanted to spend time doing something I loved. How my friends noticed me go from bubbly and quick-witted to small and perpetually apologetic when he was around. He tried to make me small. T. Rocks Lock says, a woman on here posted that she hadn't made pasta in 49 years because her husband didn't like it. I wanted to throw my phone so bad because, ma'am, make yourself some damn pasta. He can eat a sandwich. Just that. Just think about how you don't have taste anymore. What you like, it doesn't even matter anymore. And then finally, Bitten Bluegrass says, untethered freedom is the future for women. Males need to evolve and understand that women do not need them anymore. We have learned to provide for and protect ourselves. Unless males are contributing to our peace and happiness, they will get ignored, denied, and told to get lost. Time for women to be the main characters and put the centuries of oppression and abuse to rest. Effing enough. Muna asked how she was doing now. David says she's thriving since the uncle died. Black and Brainy says it's covert narcissists. They don't like how extrovert you are, but date you to make you be like them. And then what a complete mess says, someone said, I'm a happy person who never gets to be happy. And one of the things that I saw on here that I didn't capture and then I couldn't go back and find it, she said, I feel like I do this at work. We have to stop shrinking for these organizations, for people. But go ahead and share your comments. Let me know what you think.